Hey, how you doing, everyone? Welcome back. Penelope says hi. Yeah, she wanted to come up here with me before I hit the record button, and now she doesn't want to be up here, of course. Typical cat. But anyway, gentlemen, and yes, I am referring specifically to the men. There's a phrase that we've all heard, and a lot of us have misunderstood it. In fact, I used to misunderstand it myself until I learned what it actually is. Toxic masculinity. Now, the reason I rejected the idea of toxic masculinity is, well, same reason most guys who reject it don't accept it. I mean, same reason that most guys won't accept it, that don't believe it's a real thing. And that is because the term toxic masculinity makes it sound as if all masculinity is toxic. But it's not. That's not what it's saying at all. Someone else that I've seen on YouTube made a very similar analogy to this. Might have actually been the same analogy. Milk. Is all milk spoiled? Spoiled milk does not mean all milk is spoiled. Toxic masculinity does not mean masculinity is toxic. It actually came from a men's organization out of the 80s and early 90s. Basically, they were looking at, hey, how can we be better? How can we be, we don't have to be aggressive. We don't have to be bullies. We don't have to be the big, tough, macho guy, which, don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for that. But it doesn't need to be your entire personality. You don't have to be emotionally vacant. I mean, I've tried that, and it doesn't work. I am who I am, and I have been toxically masculine before. I mean, I know of a guy who won't allow rainbows or the color pink anywhere near his son. Because he thinks it might turn him gay, right? He's got to be a big tough guy. He's going to play all the sports. Okay. What if he doesn't want to do all that? Are you going to force him? You expect him to force that on his kids? Nah. Let him do his thing. There are other ways to be masculine. I mean, just because he doesn't play football doesn't mean that he's not masculine. He'll find his masculinity some other way. Maybe it'll be creative in I mean, I'm not really a big sports guy. I mean, I'm a hockey fan, but I've never really played sports per se. I mean, I have, but never. I've never been what you would consider an athlete. one thing that I do like to do is I like to go down in my workshop and build things. That's a creative way to be masculine. What, that's not your thing? Oh, alright. Maybe you can do it some other way. Maybe you rebuild engines. Alright, well, that's not my thing. I'm not mechanically inclined. I mean, I know enough about cars to do some basic things, especially on older cars. Give me an old car and I could change the oil in it. One of these new ones, yeah, probably not. That's alright. But don't expect me to, like, rebuild a carburetor or something like that, you know. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to be masculine without being toxic. You know, a lot of guys will define their masculinity based on the fact that they have a big dog, or, which, by the way, I do. She's right over there, actually. You might have heard her kind of growling at one of the cats a minute ago. I don't know if the microphone picked that up or not. Some guys will define their masculinity by, you know, they've got a big pickup truck. Well, I don't know, my pickup truck isn't necessarily big, but I have one. Maybe they define it by, oh, hey, facial hair. Really? Come on. Some guys can't grow it, some of us can. Whatever. Some guys define it by, you know, the guns that they have. Okay. If that's how you're defining your masculinity, you might want to rethink what it actually means. I actually have all of those things. I have a big dog, I have a truck, facial hair, guns, have all of it. None of it defines me as being masculine. I don't have to make my wife get back in the kitchen where she belongs. Then again, if you think her place is in the kitchen, guys, if you think a woman's place in the kitchen, you're missing out. You know what I mean. You know, are you supposed to be the head of your household? Biblically speaking, yes, but you also want to consider that the woman is there to be your partner. You know, I mean, she's not there to be walked on. She's there as a partner, an assistant. You know, an equal, actually. Reminds me of something that I had heard once. How let's take the biblical version of how woman came to be. It came from Adam's rib. The rib, from under the arm to be protected, from near the heart to be loved, and from the side to be equal, not from the head to be better, and not from the feet to be walked on. You know, just something to think about. You know, I mean, can you be competitive and still be masculine? Of course. Of course, that's part of being a guy. I mean, we are competitive by nature. Is it okay to play rough with your kids? Sure. But, I mean, when it turns to the point of, you know, toughening them up, like getting rough with them just to toughen them up, is that really necessary? I mean, sure, you want them to know how to handle themselves if need be, but you also want them to avoid those situations as much as possible too, Discernment, another good masculine trait. I mean, just something to think about. I mean, don't define your masculinity by superficial things that don't mean anything, or by the fact that, you're the big tough guy in the bar that, you're out there making a scene, because you think you've got to be the guy that nobody wants to fight. Well, if you're the big guy making a scene, I ain't worried about you. Actually, I'm not really worried about anyone because I'm not going to start anything with anyone. But if I was going to be concerned with someone, it'd be that quiet guy over there that everybody's staying away from. Because he's got that kind of a reputation. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't try to brag or prove. He doesn't feel the need to prove himself or make a big scene. But, maybe stop trying to make a show of just how manly and masculine you are. Maybe stop trying to put women in their place, because their place is right there alongside of us. I mean, we might even have a woman as President of the United States soon. Maybe. We'll see what happens there. But some of you guys want to go so far backwards. I mean, you think that June Cleaver is how women should be. And there's nothing wrong with that as a choice. A choice. In fact, I commend that choice. But, I mean, really, I'm going to try to force her to go back in there where she belongs. Well, whatever. You do you, but you're the reason that we keep hearing about that phrase that we don't like, toxic masculinity. Maybe stop being toxic and be masculine. You don't have to be both. See you next time.